Giving veterans and their families a hand up, the 30th annual Stand Down starts today.
We're currently reviewing that opinion. I think we can all attest that these are very dangerous times.
White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer resigns. Plus, what does the new communications director have planned for the president's tweets?
It is TGIF Comic-Con style. The second full day of this international convention has brought out more cosplayers, more families, and pop culture enthusiasts. We are here with the highlights. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now.
Good evening. I'm Amitha Sharma inside the KPBS News studio.
And I'm Ebony Monet, live downtown at Comic-Con. As we enter the weekend, the crowd out here has swelled. Today, there's even more sights to see, more entertainment, and more attractions in and around the convention center. The hotels, restaurants, and bars, they're all taking part as well, hosting gaming rooms and lounges. Coming up in just a bit, we'll tell you how women gamers deal with trolls, and we'll introduce you to the man behind this massive event. Amitha?
Thank you, Ebony. This is the 30th year for Stand Down. Volunteers are expected to help more than 1,000 homeless vets this weekend. The milestone marks a turning of the page for an organization formed to help Vietnam veterans. KPBS military reporter Steve Walsh has the story.
I've been to Stand Down every year except for one.
Some vets have been coming almost since the beginning.
Just under the bridge. Yeah, I stayed there for like 5 years.
Veterans once homeless are sober and helping others. Volunteer in Iraq war vet Jeff Stinchcomb says he's seen the transformation.
A lot of really just almost magical stuff happens here. People change their lives. Some of these people may not get out the street this year, but they spend their whole year going, if I can just make it to Stand Down, I can live.
The 30th Stand Down marks a sea change for Veterans Village. Longtime head Phil Landis, a Vietnam vet, is retiring. He's being replaced by the first non-Vietnam vet to run the organization, Kim Mitchell.
The needs are changing, so therefore Veterans Village of San Diego is ready to change with those needs and provide the services that our veterans and men and women that are returning home are needing.
Mitchell is a 17-year Navy veteran with a deep connection to the war. She was orphaned as an infant in Vietnam. Adopted by an American serviceman, she was raised in Wisconsin. Stand Down runs through Sunday. Steve Walsh, KPBS News.
New details tonight on the federal investigation into Russian connections to the U.S. presidential campaign. The Washington Post reports Russia's ambassador to Washington discussed campaign-related matters, including policy issues important to Moscow, with then-Senator Jeff Sessions during last year's race. This is according to U.S. intelligence officials, as Attorney General Sessions testified that he had no recollection of the encounter. We'll have more details on air and online at KPBS.org. The U.S. State Department says a travel ban to North Korea is expected to be put into place sometime next month, and Americans will need to get a special validation passport to travel there. A spokeswoman says validations may be granted for humanitarian or other purposes. The State Department says the ban is being put in place because of mounting concerns over the risk of arrest and detention by the North Koreans. Sean Spicer abruptly quit as White House press secretary today. He said President Trump's communications team could benefit from a clean slate amid the Russia investigations and attempts to get key legislation passed. Spicer resigned in protest over Trump's appointment of financier Anthony Scaramucci as communications director. Sources say Spicer didn't think Scaramucci was qualified for the job. Scaramucci denied any friction with Spicer.
I would love to have Sean here. Sean decided that he thought it would be better to go. And for me, as it relates to Sean, it speaks volumes to who he is as a human being.
Scaramucci also indicated he would not try to rein in the president, whose tweets and interviews have left White House aides scrambling to clarify.
The president himself is always going to be the president. I was in the Oval Office with him earlier today, and we were talking about letting him be himself, letting him express his full identity. I think he's got some of the best political instincts in the world and perhaps in history.
Spicer tweeted today, "It's been an honor and a privilege to serve President Trump. He will continue his service through August." As the federal government considers opening the door to offshore drilling in California, Sacramento lawmakers want the Trump administration to back off those plans. President Trump used an executive order to lift the ban on a moratorium on oil and gas exploration. The Interior Department is accepting public comment on whether or not to reinstate the ban. State senators passed a resolution yesterday saying California is not willing to put its coastal environment at risk for the sake of offshore drilling.
California has changed. We've spent billions of dollars to be able to protect our coast and to be able to protect our ocean, be able to protect our fisheries. And now that could all be reversed with allowing more oil and gas leasing off of the coast.
No new oil rigs have been installed off the California coast since 1969. State water officials are prepping new rules to protect California waterways and habitats from the byproducts of cannabis cultivation. State Water Board members say marijuana cultivation has damaged habitats and wetlands for years. Now, new policies will regulate how commercial farmers handle waste and chemicals as the state prepares to issue recreational marijuana licenses. Those policies are expected to be finalized by October. New job numbers are giving us another snapshot of San Diego's economic outlook, even though the county's unemployment rate ticked up. KPBS's Deb Welsh reports the labor force total continues to grow.
The State Employment Development Department reports last month's unemployment rate was below an estimate of 4.9% a year ago. That puts the San Diego rate in June below both the statewide and national rates as a whole. Between May and June, according to the report, San Diego added 3,100 jobs in bars and restaurants, while the arts, entertainment, and recreation category grew by 1,500 positions. Specialty construction contractors, local government education, and ambulatory healthcare services posted the largest increases over the last year. In June, nearly 68,000 San Diegans were without jobs in a civilian labor force of an estimated 2 million people. Deb Welsh, KPBS News.
I'm at the booth for the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund, and I'm with Charles Brownstein. And what is the booth doing here? What are you guys talking about? What can people find out here?
Sure. The Comic Book Legal Defense Fund is a nonprofit organization that protects the freedom to read. And so we are here educating people about what's happening in the free expression world, what kind of challenges are happening for comics and graphic novels.
Now, people tend to think of banned books as something from the past, but is it something that's still prevalent today?
Banned books is a very prevalent problem right now, especially in the school and library community. The current moral panic is happening in schools and libraries. People lashing out against books that might have LGBTQ content, people lashing out against books that might discuss sexuality. And comics are a big part of that.
And if people want to find you here on the Comic-Con floor, where are you located?
We are at booth 1920 right across from DC, and you can learn more at cbldf.org.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gaming is no doubt a lot of fun for the millions of people who take part, but it's not without real-life issues such as bullying. In fact, half of all gamers report harassment and/or abuse, and women are often on the receiving end. I spoke to 2 local women gamers who tell me that their fantasy worlds are often accosted by bullies.
Lottie Grondel describes herself as a hardcore gamer.
I do spend quite a few of my waking hours either in front of a PC or in front of a console.
Like kids before her, the 90s baby was first turned on to video games by the Super Mario Brothers. Then there was Legend of Zelda, Castlevania, and Final Fantasy X. The evolution of gaming now lets her indulge anywhere with Wi-Fi, including the KPBS newsroom.
So he's my support because I am a pretty weak character whose main job is just to do to do a lot of damage really fast.
Grondal is playing Jinx in the hugely popular game League of Legends. An estimated 27 million people play this game every day. Jinx is expected to be fast and dole out a lot of destruction.
No, don't, shh, God, don't you dare hit my support. Haha. Missed me.
Grondal yells out and types messages to her 4 teammates as she uses her minigun and rocket launchers to kill creatures for gold and destroy the other team's base.
Oh, Lord. Oh, I need to back. So they hit me pretty hard, so I'm backing.
I think we should prioritize you a little bit more.
Anna Nguyen is another League of Legends player, though admittedly less vocal.
When I play a game, and usually if there's like voice chat or something like that, I don't want it made known that I'm a female. That's probably a part of it.
Nguyen says she's less inclined to play with strangers or reveal her gender.
There's a stigma that girls aren't good at playing video games, so it's like, oh man, I have a girl on my team.
Grondal and Nguyen don't know each other. They're 2 San Diego professionals who dedicate hours to the gaming culture, including cosplay, their physical, detailed transformations into their favorite characters. They're part of the growing millions of women who have ousted teen boys as the largest gaming demographic in the U.S. And they both find being a woman gamer comes with added challenges. Lottie likens it to hazing.
When somebody brings up a video game and you engage in conversation, the male never has to prove himself as worthy of joining the conversation, but usually everybody stops the conversation, turns to me, and kind of quizzes me.
Nguyen says the taunts and negative comments have completely turned her off from group chatting.
People say really toxic things online just because there's a screen. You don't have to deal with people face to face.
It's Mia Consalvo.
Mia Consalvo is a professor and Canada Research Chair in Game Studies and Design at Concordia University in Montreal. She says harassing behavior and gaming have a long history.
As long as people have played games and as long as we've had research about, digital games and online games or multiplayer games, there have been problems, with bullying, with abuse, with harassment.
Consalvo says women aren't the only targets.
And it's also, a problem not just for women. Gay players have been harassed. Minority players have been harassed as well.
Ditch the Label is an anti-bullying organization. Its 2017 survey found 47% of responding gamers say they've been threatened. 38% say they've been hacked within a game. Like most online networks, Consalvo says game developers struggle to enforce rules with their users and give the targets of online abuse legitimate ways to follow up offline.
Game culture certainly has its problems, but unfortunately we see these things, happening in lots of places, outside of just games as well, just in online culture in general now.
Nguyen thinks anonymity fuels toxicity.
Yeah, it is a mirror of society, but maybe amplified because you're behind a screen.
Still, she isn't turned off by the community that connects her friends.
So I'm player 1 right now?
No, you're player 2.
She even invites me to give it a whirl. Gripping the controller, I try out Super Smash Brothers.
Okay.
Randomly jamming buttons. It's easy to see the appeal. It's a thrill each time Yoshi, the green dinosaur I'm controlling, pulls off a move. Nguyen thinks these characters will ultimately help change how women are perceived in gaming.
More recently, I feel like there's more of an incorporation of stronger women, not, large-chested women.
The women gamers also agree. For them, the joys of gaming outweigh the negative aspects. Grondal says there's no better way to decompress, escape, and kick butt.
A lot of people say, get a life. Well, sure, but I'm a gamer. I have lots of lives.
Since it was founded, Comic-Con has been about entertainment and education, and many of those educational activities and panels are taking place right here downtown at the San Diego Central Library. This weekend, they're hosting teachers from Helix Charter School in La Mesa who use comics to teach everything from French history to algebra.
With Star Wars, it starts off as a republic. Okay, we're going to vote for people who are going to represent us. And then there's this person in the background who's trying to take power. And we talk about how slowly but surely somebody like Napoleon gets power. And at first everybody thinks, oh, this guy is great, he's awesome. And then he becomes the emperor.
Math in high school level, in all levels, are going away from the traditional memorization and plug and chug type problems to the Common Core. I'm sure you've heard of the Common Core. So what I'm here to do basically is hope to take away any type of comic stuff I can to bring into the classroom. So for word type problems or application type problems.
Helix teachers will present at 2 p.m. Saturday downtown at the Central Library. Comic-Con is one of the biggest and oldest pop culture fan conventions in the world. But it didn't start off that way. In the 1970s, it started with just a few hundred people, and David Glancer was one of them because he came because he liked comic books. Now he's one of the main organizers of this massive event. KPBS arts reporter Beth Accomando spoke to him about how the convention has grown and what's new this year.
It was in 1978, and walking through the doors, I could not believe everything I saw. Clearly much smaller than today, but at the time, incredibly huge to me. And I think the thing that really got me was how many things that had to do with film and comics, obviously, but I'm a huge film fan. And movie posters and all this. I was like a kid in a candy store.
So this is now year 48 for Comic-Con. Is there anything new or different this year?
You know, I like to say Comic-Con's like a river. The banks are always the same. I mean, the river's always there. The water's ever changing. So yeah, I think we'll see some different stuff this year. There's some great returning people who've been around for a while. But this year we're excited. We have on our exhibit floor a lot of international presence. We have some people from China, from South Africa, France, Chile. This year we have a pinball lounge over at the Marriott Hotel. We have a tech lounge over, I think, at the Omni that's going to have virtual reality. So, you know, I think the convention is ever evolving.
And so is there something this year that you're particularly interested in, even though you may not be able to get away and see it?
Yes, I like film, but I also like politics. And there is a panel that we have called Who Cleans Up This Mess? That is going to talk about what happens when a city suffers the devastating effects of a superhero battle. And it's actually going to, the panel participants are elected officials, former elected officials, city council members. I think there's some state level guests on the panel. And you know, I don't know if it'll be for everybody, but it's something that I hope to be able to pull myself away from and see.
Mad Magazine sketch artist Sergio Aragones is inside the convention center here behind me. It is his 47th year. He's been coming since 1970 when he came as a visitor. KPBS video journalist Katie Shulov sat down with him and asked him to reflect on how things have changed.
I'm Sergio Aragones. I'm a cartoonist. I've been with Mad Magazine for the last 50 years. And we're here at San Diego Con, you know, saying hello to all my friends and fans and signing autographs. And then I charge them $100. My pleasure, enjoy. I came when it opened the first time. In the 70s. I started in 1954. I was in high school. I was a little kid. I was drawing on the walls, you know. Now, then, you have a mustache and everything, then I can still draw on the walls, you know. And now they pay for it. In the beginning, there were not that many people, so it was in a place called El Cortez. Oh, that's the 70s by myself, and then a little more advanced. Then we went to Convention Center, because it grew up so much. And then this is how it looks now. This is what happens, you know, masses of people, you know, millions of people dressed like Batman. And then priests with horns and rifles and things, you know, but it's masses. Help, help. But the real change has been that less and less people related to comics come in, because A lot of the people are interested in movies, television. Many of them don't even know about comics, which a lot of people complain, but I love it because like this, they rediscover things when they were kids. But the old-timers, they keep coming and they keep saying hello. And you see them growing from little kids to adults. And it's a pleasure being here because you're the recipient of all these years of memories and stuff. So it's a great feeling, you know?
One of the great things about San Diego's downtown is that it sits along the bay, and besides being beautiful, it offers a little bit of a coastal relief with that breeze, which is so appreciated as the temperatures soar out here today. Brittany Boyer has more in tonight's forecast.
A look at a couple of your weather headlines as we head into the next couple of days. Well, it is staying warm and humid. For the most part, though, it's going to be a nice and pleasant weekend. With the exception of the mountains, that's where we could see a spotty shower around mostly on Sunday. So most of the weekend should be dry, just a touch humid. And then you might be wondering, when do we have a cool down on the way? It has been above normal with our temperatures here in San Diego, about 3 degrees above normal for the month. It should be cooling down slightly as we head into next week. Here's a look at our satellite and radar. You can see the monsoon season is in full swing out toward the Four Corners. That's where they're seeing showers and thunderstorms, and some areas have been dealing with some flash flooding. Now, with the monsoon season right now, that is providing more moisture into our region. So that's why the humidity is up there just a touch throughout this Friday and also as we head into your weekend. The marine layer sets back up tonight, so we will have increasing clouds, especially toward the coast. So if you have any flights tomorrow morning, be prepared for the potential of a delay out there. Lows tonight, Ramona 58 degrees, will stay nice and clear in Borrego Springs with temperatures right around 77 degrees, and Mount Laguna clear skies with a low of 61. Here's a look at your Saturday. At the coast will stay cool. We'll start off with morning clouds, then the sunshine is out. The building heat continues to stay to our east out toward the Four Corners, and of course that's where they're seeing the showers and thunderstorms. Borrego Springs 108 tomorrow. That's actually where they should be for this time of the year. Here in San Diego, we're looking at a high temperature of 77 degrees. The moisture continues to work its way into Southern California as we head into next week, so it is going to start off a bit on the humid side. Here's a look at your 5-day forecast for the coast. We'll see clouds breaking for some sunshine for tomorrow. Then it looks pretty nice as we head into the next couple of days, mostly sunny, although it will be humid out there. As we go inland, we could see a passing shower on Monday. The rest of the forecast is looking good. We're just seeing cooler temperatures as we head into next week. That will be the case for the mountains and also here in the desert. For KPBS, I'm Brittany Boyer.
I'm here at Radio Flyer with Tom Schlegel, and there is this amazing new thing. It's a land speeder that works. What is this?
It's Luke's Land Speeder.
How can you be selling this?
So it's the first battery-op ride-on Star Wars vehicle that you can actually drive.
This is amazing. I remember when I was a kid, I had Tony the Pony. This is way cooler. Yeah. So what kind of things does Radio Flyer do?
Well, Radio Flyer is known for the Little Red Wagon and tricycles, scooters, other ride-on vehicles. So this is the first time we're partnering with Lucasfilm to create Luke's Land Speeder from Star Wars.
So you're just going into the space age.
Well, Radio Flyer has always fueled imagination from kids, and Star Wars, the world, is imagination for kids, so we thought it was a great partnership.
Hello. Hello, children. How are you all?
Engage. Follow me this.
Great Scott! Well, eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Time to go beyond Comic-Con. KPBS Arts editor Nina Guerin shows us what else is happening in tonight's weekend preview.
Hello and happy Friday. It's horse racing season in San Diego, and that means the 4 o'clock Friday Summer Concert Series is back. These are free concerts by popular alternative rock and reggae bands. It begins tonight with Tribal Seeds and continues weekly with bands like Violent Femmes, Eagles of Death Metal, Ludacris, Lord Huron, and more. The concerts begin after the final race of the day, which is about 8 o'clock. There's a $20 charge if you show up after the races. Comic-Con events are happening all over San Diego County this weekend, including a comics and music event in Barrio Logan. ChicanoCon is a 3-day event at Border X Brewing. It highlights the work of Latino artists. Tonight, you can meet writer and cartoonist Lalo Alcaraz. Saturday is dedicated to arts, crafts, and games like piñata making. Sunday will celebrate the work of local cartoonist Junco. Admission is free, and yes, there will be beer specials. Finally, we celebrate the 40th anniversary of one of the best-selling albums of all time, Fleetwood Mac's Rumors. A collective of DJs called Fleet Mac Wood take your favorite songs from that album and remix them. So imagine Gold Dust Woman and Go Your Own Way with electronic dance beats and reimagined for the dance floor. The Rumors rave has been a hit all over the world, giving a new generation an appreciation for the great Fleetwood Mac. Dress in your 1977 best and head over to the Casbah tonight. That's all for this weekend. For KPBS Arts, I'm Nina Guerin.
Thank you for joining us and have a great evening.